What is going on, everybody? This is your man, Big B, Brian Hanley. Welcome to Steelers Almighty, the big show, along with Big G. Man, we got a good show for you guys today, man. I appreciate everybody showing up and showing out like you guys always do, man. Look, here's the one thing is that, Big G, we had an outline of the show, and then we got breaking news about an hour ago that happened of what's going down. But first off, let's cover what we're going to go through with the show. First off, DK Metcalf and George Pickens.
Yeah.
If that tandem's together, which I don't think the Steelers are going to trade Pickens at this point, but we'll see. Anything can happen. We're going to break down what production looks like based on the quarterback that's going to be throwing the football to them. We will go through that with you guys. Also, the good, the bad, the ugly. Mike Tannenbaum came out with a mock draft today. It could have easily been one of the worst mock drafts that I've seen this year for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll go over that. It was absolute garbage, Big G.
Facts.
Talk about compensatory picks. Steelers got another one. So we'll talk about, first of all, we'll explain that, break it all down, and then talk about if that's the smart move for the Steelers, because it kind of seems like that's what the Steelers are doing, is that they're loading up on these compensatory picks for next year. So are Steeler fans going to be patient enough to wait until next year for stuff, especially talking about Cam Hayward's urgency, and what he had to say about urgency. We'll talk about that. Also, we got that crazy producer question that's going to come at the end. So we got a lot to talk about, Big G. First off, man, how are you doing, my man?
Man, I'm doing well, B, man. Like I said, we had a lot of breaking news that happened, and we stay in them Steelers streets. So, we're hearing stuff, and we'll be able to talk to some of the people, because half the people probably don't even know what we know.
Absolutely.
What's happened in the last, 35, 45 minutes. So, but absolutely. I'm doing well, man. I'm happy to be here, and we're going to do what we do on the big show. So let's get it going, bro.
Let's get it going, man. You're exactly right. Let's get it going. So first off, let's talk about this. My man MLV says crash out time. It's crash out time.
Not
for
yet.
The Russell Wilson fans out there, Big G.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson gets a deal, 1 year, $21 million with the New York Giants. So both quarterbacks for the Pittsburgh Steelers end up in New York. So all the Russell Wilson fans, all the fans out there that were hoping that Russell, the Steelers just need to sign Russ. That's not happening. That's not happening. And quite frankly, Big G, I don't care. I didn't want Russ, so it doesn't bother me, not even a little bit, that he isn't going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler anymore. Doesn't bother me one bit.
Yeah. Well, it moves the needle. I mean, we understand and know now that Pittsburgh's done backed themselves all the way in the corner.
Yeah.
It's either Aaron Rodgers or a rookie, because ain't nobody left. I mean, even Jameis Winston is off the street. Everybody's off the street now. There ain't nobody out there. So, and we saw what Russie did last year for the Steelers. And B, those last 5 games, man, we were going back and forth about how garbage he played. So I understand why. And if I'm Russ, I ain't mad at him. He got $21 million, all the bread, all the money, all up front, because it's over with for him. He's washed. But now the Giants, and this might affect us in a positive or negative way, because I think the Giants might be passing on the quarterback, which now there's a guy up there and around that first round that might drop to us, but that's a whole nother conversation, maybe even for another show, bro.
Yeah, probably for another show, but I'm with you. I'm right there with you. And we're on the same page. So it didn't go over this. Again, everybody, appreciate everybody being in here. Again, if you want to help support the channel, you know how to do that. Super chats are wide open to get your comment, question, or rant up on the screen. Also, memberships are also available. 5 different tiers. Just put and recorded another all 22 today for the entire football game, the Dallas Cowboys game. Ugh, man, it was ugly.
Horrible.
One of those reasons why I didn't care if the Steelers signed Justin Fields ever. That was a awful football game all the way around. It was just bad. But so again, we got a ton of different memberships, man. So that'll be going into the hopper soon for everybody. So just appreciate everybody's support, man. We're coming up on our 1 year anniversary. It's actually next Friday, which is the day we put out our podcast. So we'll be sure to mention it then. So let's get into this, man. DK and GP predictions. What type of seasons do we expect from them? So, Big G, first off, if Aaron Rodgers comes to Pittsburgh, which all signs are pointing to him being the Steelers quarterback next year, what kind of seasons do you think that DK and GP are going to have?
Well, first of all, if Aaron Rodgers, well, let me say this. I got to back up. As bad as I'm going to crash out with Aaron Rodgers, because I'm telling you, I'm okay. It's on deck. Crashing out is on deck. But the deal is, when you actually look at Aaron Rodgers from a statistical information, he was better in 2024 than he was in 2022. He had a better year. And I think with the weapons of a GP and a DK Metcalf, they could have outstanding seasons. And GP can't mess around and not have an outstanding season because it's his contract year. So he wants his money. So, like, he's going to be listening, being in the spots Rodgers wants him to be in, be ready to catch the ball at all times, make spectacular catches, because we know GP's like a top 10 or 15 talent.
Right.
And I think DK with Rodgers, you're going to look at Devontae Adams a few years ago. When Devontae Adams was killing a few years ago, that's how DK going to look. So does that help the Steelers? Oh, absolutely. We've challenged for the division with Rodgers at quarterback, bro, in my position.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think me and you are kind of on the same wavelength. I mean, look, we like to battle each other and go back and forth, but we also tell the truth. Facts. And the truth is Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback than Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Facts. If you don't believe that, then you just hate Aaron Rodgers and just won't admit it. Now, I'm not saying that Aaron Rodgers is the savior, the answer to winning a Super Bowl. I'm not saying that at all. But to act like he can't play quarterback is ridiculous. You know, yeah. I don't like him. I don't like all his off the field stuff. It gets on my nerves. He's already on my nerves, and he's not even officially on the team yet. Yeah. But I think DK and GP have their best seasons if Rodgers is a quarterback. Because the one thing that I know, Aaron Rodgers, if he comes, he's going to have the cachet. Like, for instance, when Russell Wilson did what he did against Cincinnati and Arthur Smith was pissed off because he was doing it his way. I'm sorry. Aaron Rodgers isn't going to hear that. He's not going to listen to that. He's going to do things his way. You know, he'll follow the offense, but he's going to do things his way. And he's not going to listen to a whole lot of Arthur Smith being mad that he called a bunch of audibles that worked and opened up the offense. So for that point and that point alone, I think those guys are going to have good seasons if Rodgers is the quarterback. If, you know, obviously injuries to anybody can derail anything. But at some point, don't the Steelers, the injury bug, have to be on our side? It seems like the last 3 or 4 years, the injury bug has not been on our side. At some point, Big G, don't we have to have that good fortune of the injury bug not affecting our most important player, our most talented guys?
Yeah, it's a law of reciprocity. We're going to have, when we have it bad, you're going to have it good. That's how it works. So the issue is with Rodgers, with the young offensive line, with DK, with GP, with Pat Freiermuth, and I'm telling you, Freiermuth going to eat. With Washington will develop because he's a huge target. Rodgers going to throw it to him. We're going to draft a running back. So Jaylen Warren is going to eat. We'll draft a running back. Man, the offense is going to look completely different. So, you know, all those people that hate the idea of Aaron Rodgers being a one-year guy, you might as well get used to it, because we're going to have to continue to do this until we get our quarterback. But if we're going to say Aaron Rodgers was our bridge, B, right? Sign me up. Sign me up today if Aaron Rodgers is my bridge for me. Sign me up.
Right. And I'm already seeing in the chat, people are like, oh, well, he's only going to last 2 games with our O-line. Obviously, that's hyperbole and ridiculous comments. But my thing is, do we think that the O-line's not going to be better? Like, people act like the offensive line is just going to get worse. That's not going to happen. I'm not saying they're going to be the best line in football, but to act like they're going to be worse is not realistic. It's not realistic. The guys are going to get a little bit better. I don't believe in Pat Meyer, but the line's not going to be better. First of all, there's other players that are going to be playing, so that's number one. And the guys are going to get better. They just will. So
the last 5 games, bro, our line was decimated, right?
Yes.
We need Isaac Seumalo 100% healthy. Mason McCormick's going to improve. Broderick Jones is finally going to be playing the right position. And we didn't see Troy Fautanu last year. So that alone, just that information alone, tells me that we will be better on the offensive line. And listen, if Rodgers needs to really be protective, we can go Big 12 now because we got that big boy from the Los Angeles Chargers to play one tight end and put Mount Washington at the other. Now he's really protected. You got DK and GP on the outside. We're like, okay, stop him. Stop. I mean, if we go Big 12 personnel, we can. One guy's 6'8", 260. The other guy's 6'7", 275. Yeah. Those are tackles playing freaking tight end.
Absolutely.
So we could do that to protect Rodgers if we needed to. So yeah, we're going to be better. We're going to be better offensively for the Pittsburgh Steelers, man.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen. So DK and GP, let's just say Mason Rudolph. Say Rodgers retires, and Mason Rudolph happens to be the starting quarterback for the Steelers. I'll go first with this one, Big G. It's not going to be what Aaron Rodgers brings to the table because Mason Rudolph is not as good as Aaron Rodgers.
Facts.
But I don't think it's going to be horrific. Like, I don't think that Mason Rudolph is just a horrific quarterback. I do think he's a career backup. Don't get me wrong. I think that's literally what he is. But a lot of people have been talking about bridge quarterback. I don't think Mason Rudolph isn't a bridge quarterback. I think he could do that for a year if he had to. So I don't think the numbers are going to be quite as good. And Rudolph is kind of a guy, look, he had some chemistry with George Pickens. If you go back 2 years ago when he came in, he had chemistry with George Pickens. I think he's going to pick that up. I think Pickens would actually have better numbers than DK if Rudolph was the quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. And because it's Pickens' year, whether people will realize this or not, Pickens has to do what he has to do in order to get himself a second big-time contract. So, all those people that think Pickens is going to keep crashing out and all whatever else, I'm telling you, this year, don't be shocked if all those shenanigans are over. And Mason is comfortable with GP right now, even before getting the situation up, going with DK. So I think George Pickens might lead him in receiving, but DK still will get the 1,000 plus. So we're still not going to be in a bad spot. And I think that we would still fight for the division with Mason even at quarterback because what's surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I like Mason as the bridge as long as we make the right selection at the quarterback to move into the later on in the season and into 2026, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I believe the same thing. I think like I said, I think he's got the chemistry. I'm not saying that Mason Rudolph is the world's greatest quarterback because he's not. That's not true. I just believe, first of all, he's going to do what they're asking him to do. Now, does he have the best ability? Does he have the best arm? No. The answer to all of that is no. But he could get the job done. I mean, the Steelers, again, could probably win 9-10 games if Rudolph is the quarterback. So now here's the big questions here. If the Steelers draft the quarterback, let's start with Jackson Dart. And if he's the quarterback, what does it look like, Big G?
Well, first of all, and B, I'm going to be honest. If the Steelers do, they should not stay at 21 in drafting. First of all, let me say that. Pittsburgh, if your intention or plan is to draft Jackson Dart, do not stay at pick 21. You have to move backwards. You need to pick up draft capital. He is not worth the 21st selection in this year's draft.
No.
Right. Now, if Dart is brought in, he's going to sit behind Mason for at least 4 or 5 games. Because, B, Tomlin ain't playing no rookies like that, especially if it's a dude that he ain't 100% sold on. He's not going to do it. So Dart probably would be on the struggle bus a little bit with the Steelers. But The advantage that Dart would have is that if he's really that guy, you're not going to get a better dynamic duo at wide receiver as coming in as a rookie. I mean, you're going to be throwing the ball to DK Metcalf and freaking George Pickens. So if you can play, we're going to find out quick, fast, and hurry if you can play. Because if you can't play, you're going to look like a bum. So they're going to find out about Jackson Dart. I think if Mason starts this season out somewhere around week 4, week 5, maybe if Dart's ready to roll, they're going to push him in there. Maybe even could have to be an injury to Mason for Dart to get in there. But we're going to find out if he's good. I think he's the worst option out of the 3 if Dart is the quarterback, out of the ones we've already mentioned.
Gotcha. Absolutely. Yeah, I think first of all, you're right about Dart. He's not going to start right away. Mike Tomlin won't have it. Unless there's an injury, that ain't happening. And you say 4 or 5 games, I go even deeper. I say 8 games.
Ooh,
Heck, you think about it a couple years ago, we drafted Baby Hands, and the only reason he got in was Trubisky got hurt.
That's facts.
I mean, that's the only reason he got in. Otherwise that wasn't going to happen. Now, Trubisky was absolute dumpster juice. Garbage. But at the same time, I mean, you draft 20, Trubisky is your quarterback. I mean, nobody thought he was any good. So that he still didn't start him right away. So we'll see.
Facts.
Will Howard. That's a name that's popped up on boards a lot. If the Steelers take Will Howard, what do you think about Will Howard? Well, I'll go first. I'm super familiar with him. Obviously, I went to K-State, do K-State podcast, and so I followed him for 4 years. I think Will Howard's okay. Everybody kept talking about how he was this and that. I mean, his arm is just okay. He's got good athleticism. He's not going to wow you with anything, but he's smart, and he anticipates throws. He's not the most accurate guy all the time, but, he's an okay quarterback. I think he's a career backup in the NFL, kind of like a Mason Rudolph. So I think he would be okay. My thing about Will Howard is we should get prepared. If he had to play, be prepared for a lot of deep balls, because he's smart enough to say, you know what? I got Pickens. I got Metcalf. I'm just going to throw it up and let those guys go make plays on it. He'll do that. He'll give opportunity. The stuff that Russ just wouldn't do with Pickens, he will do that. He'll just say, hey, man, I know there's a guy down there with you, maybe even 2. I'm throwing it to you because I believe in you. I'll give you a chance. Will Howard will do that.
Yeah. B, I don't disagree, but first of all, let me say, as a Buckeye, we appreciate your deposit that you gave to us this last year to secure that we got our national championship. We thank you for Will Howard. We appreciate the gift because he sure put us over the top. And saying all that, I saw him up front, personal, close, saw what he was able to do, saw him work out at the Woody, saw him do all kind of different things for Ohio State. Jeremiah Smith, DK Metcalf, very similar.
Right.
George Pickens, Carnell Tate, very similar.
Right.
Calvin Austin III, Emeka Buka, very similar. So the offense is set up for him to come to Pittsburgh and be successful. The issue's going to be, don't push him and rush him to get him in position to be the starter. Now, if he goes in there and he handles his business in practice, he learns that playbook and he's like reeling it back because he's smart. The kid's super smart. So if he's able to just get it back and he's able to progress, get through his reads in the NFL, and the one thing about him, man, he's huge and he can run. He's like Josh Allen size. Will Howard is a big kid. He's 6'4", 235 or 240 pounds.
He is.
And you can't just knock him down.
No.
So he'll be mobile from the quarterback position, and he'll make plays. He'll be a rookie. He'll make rookie mistakes, but the offense or the team is set up very similar to the 2024 Ohio State Buckeyes. So I'm not mad if Will Howard's the quarterback. I'm not mad. I like it, and I'm not being biased. I'm not being a homer. I think Will Howard fits with Pittsburgh.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I like Will Howard. I just don't think he's the best option as a quarterback. I don't. I think he's fine. I just don't think he's the best option.
What round, though, B? What round?
You can't take Will Howard anywhere before the 4th round.
Fourth.
You can't take him. I mean, it makes zero sense. He's going to be available, and if somebody takes him before that, they're reaching. They're absolutely reaching.
That's facts. That's facts.
Quinn Ewers, last one. If Quinn Ewers happens to be the quarterback, I'm out on Quinn Ewers. I don't think Quinn Ewers is very good. As a matter of fact, I don't even think Quinn Ewers is really an NFL quarterback, to be honest with you. I don't. I don't think he is. And there's plenty of guys that get drafted in the NFL that don't happen to be NFL quarterbacks. I mean, heck, Josh Rosen. Remember Josh Rosen? He was supposed to be the next great quarterback out of UCLA.
Horrible.
He got a job 1 year, and they said, you know what? We're going to take another quarterback with number one the very next year. And in 3 years, he was out of the league. So Quinn Ewers is going to get drafted. He'll probably be in the league for 3 or 4 years. But that's my personal opinion. I'm not a Ewers fan. And by all means, have him go prove me wrong, because I don't want anybody not to be able to fulfill their dreams. I just personally don't think he's that good. That's just my take. I watched him a lot at Texas. I mean, a lot of throws that he made were to wide open guys. You didn't ever see him, Big G, pinpoint and throw somebody open or anything like that. And when pressure came, he acted like, oh, my God, I've never seen pressure in my life. He didn't know how to play quarterback if there was any pressure. So that's just me.
Facts, B. He the first dude I say hell no to. Hell no, I don't want no Quinn Ewers. Look, listen, go back and look at, like you said, when they had to play Georgia, which is stacked up with NFL defensive players. When they had to play Ohio State, they're stacked up with NFL defensive players. Boy, he wasn't doing nothing but throwing wheel routes.
Right.
And a lot of times he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. He was horrible. And he panicked with the football. The one thing about the NFL quarterback position, now I've never played quarterback in the NFL, but I know a little something about it, right? Timing and effectively being able to diagnose the defense to figure out where the guy's open is critical. And a wide open window in the NFL is not a wide open window in college football.
Absolutely not.
So Ewers is going to hold the ball, and B, you've seen it. We watch tape. He's patting the ball. That's because he don't see it. So that's not going to translate at the next level in NFL, man. NFL, you read it, see it, throw it. Read it, see it, throw it. So, come on, man. I don't want Ewers. I don't think Ewers is worth a first, second, third, fourth. I would maybe in the sixth, maybe, but I'm not swinging for it. No freaking way, man. No way.
No. So, I just, look, I like him. But at the college level, he was fine. I just don't think he's going to be a great pro. He could be a backup, but he's more like a Kyle Allen type, if you ask me.
Facts.
So that's what I think Quinn Ewers. But here's the thing. Kyle Allen's made a good living. Yeah. He may never start, but he's made a damn good living playing in the National Football League, being a backup, a third stringer. I mean, that's good money, good work if you can get it. So good for all of those guys, man. Let's move on. So, okay, Chad, look, Mike Tannenbaum came out. I don't know if any of y'all saw it. He came out with a mock draft. Okay, came out today. It very well might have been the worst mock draft that I've seen anybody talk about with the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. It was absolutely garbage. Just hot, stinky, watered down garbage. Oh, my goodness. So, first off, at least for the Steelers' point of view. Now, everybody else, I didn't really pay that much attention to. Look, his first pick, he took Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders. That was 1, 2, 3. It is what it is, But here's where it got interesting for me. He had Kenneth Grant going to the Falcons at 15. That actually isn't horrible. They need D-line help. That's not a horrible take. And I'm like, damn it. The Steelers need him. But he was gone. They had Omarion Hampton going to Denver at 20, which a lot of people have been talking about that. So, for me, it wasn't that big of a deal. But he had the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 1, taking Shamar Stewart, the edge out of Texas A&M. The guy that had 1.5 sacks his last year at Texas A&M. Now, I get it. hey, guys get double teamed. They scheme you out, all that stuff. It's not just easy to get a sack. I get all of that. But 1.5 sacks in a season, and this guy's going to be a top 21 pick. Like, where's the production? And his whole traits over production, I don't buy it. And I get it. He's got the measurables, Big G. What is he? 6'5", 265. He runs a 4.59, jump 40 inches. Workout warrior. We've seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
But where's the production, Big G? What are we doing here?
Listen, man, first of all, pick a sign, man, about the dude's draft. 1 through 5. Call a number. It don't matter. 1 through 5.
Give me 4.
You want number 4? That boy's draft was hot trash. Look at them flies and all that mess and stuff over there, man. Horrible, bro. Horrible. Why in God's green earth would we take an edge with our number 21 pick? We are not a player or two away from competing for a Super Bowl. You don't take what is considered BPA at that pick. You get a guy at position of need. D tackle, cornerback, running back. And B, the killer part about it? Look who went after 21. Look at his picks. Those are dudes that we could have took. I was like,
yes.
Oh, God, I saw 20, I saw 22, 23, 24, 25. I said, this dude is trash. He don't have a clue to understand what's going on with the Pittsburgh freaking Steelers, man. There's no way. No freaking way. Get that dude. And B, he played in the SEC and had 1.5 sacks. That's trash. That's garbage. That is garbage. If you a dude down there in the SEC, you got to be a dude to go get that quarterback. He can't do it. No. If he can't do it in the SEC, damn for sure ain't gonna do it in the NFL. Yeah. He ain't gonna do it.
Yeah, that's the thing is that, you take a look at his draft after the Steelers, at 22, they had a tight end, but the Steelers need a cornerback. Siobhan Reed Jr. out of East Carolina, he's shooting up boards. He got taken at 23 to the Packers. 24, Minnesota needs a corner. Jahadi Barron out of Texas. I'm like, well, hold on. Kelvin Banks. Now, granted, the Steelers don't necessarily need a tackle, but maybe they do. I know Banks is really damn good. He goes after that. Jackson Dart. Now, again, I'm 1,000,000% against taking Jackson Dart in the first round, but teams, the rumors keep saying that the Steelers would move back to take him. Well, he goes to 26 to the Rams. I'm like, there are so many guys. I know Maxwell Harrison. I was real high on him.
Dog.
I know that you are super high on Nick Amonirori. I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Nick Amonirori.
I'm not so high on him in the first round, but because we don't necessarily need a safety, but I would take him before I took this guy. It was just a horrible. It just didn't make any sense to me. I don't know what he was trying to prove. Maybe he was doing it for shock value. And, you're on ESPN. That's what you do. It's entertainment. But at some point, you got to have some facts with some stuff. That just doesn't make sense to me.
They need to take that boy's press credentials.
Yeah.
They need to that putting that mess out there is horrible. They need to take, listen, I've been a critic against Mel Kiper and against Todd McShay. I've been a critical, but at least they have some sense about what they're trying to put together concerning the draft board. Pittsburgh at 21 with an edge rusher? Come stop it, man. Get up out of here, bro. So you don't know anything about what's going on in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. There's no freaking way. No way.
I mean, all you have to do is take a look at the depth chart and what the Steelers have. They have TJ Watt, who's about to get an extension. They have, Alex Highsmith, who the Steelers aren't going to trade because you'd have to take a huge dead cap hit if you trade him before June 1st. So they're not doing that. And they have Nick Herbig. Why would they draft a guy? I guess if the Steelers did draft a guy, it would mean one of two things. Either they're not going to extend TJ Watt or that they were going to trade Alex Highsmith in the offseason. So or one of two things. Or they don't really believe in Nick Herbig. I guess 3 things. But I don't see them not extending Watt. They're going to do that. I think they believe in Nick Herbig, although he's got to get a lot better against the run. It's just, like I said, I get it. It's entertainment. Heck, we put on content to be entertaining, but we at least tell the truth about what the hell's going on with the Steelers. Lord have mercy. It's insane.
Horrible. Straight
Yeah,
horrible, dog.
that was bad, man. That was bad. I just didn't get that move. That's not a look. If the Steelers are going to reach, there's been a couple people in the chat who already said it. Go reach for a corner. Yes, the Steelers need a corner. I'd be all for that.
Yeah. Hairston, the kid out of Kentucky. Go get him. I like him. The kid out of East Carolina, go get him if you're going to go get a corner. Will Johnson might fall down the board. I mean, if you're going to do something like that, okay, yeah, let's do that. But we ain't taking no pass rusher, dog. No, absolutely. Stop that, man. That's horrible. That is just freaking horrible. It is horrible.
Oof, brutal. People in the chat are talking about Russ. Yeah, Carl, we talked about Russ already, my man. We got that at the beginning of the show. Thanks for coming in, though. We appreciate you keeping us updated, man. And there's also in the chat, somebody said extending TJ Watt is a really bad idea. Let's talk about that for a quick second before we move on. I don't know, Big G. Look, here's my thing about Watt. First off, you got to have defensive players. I agree. Giving Watt a big contract, look, Watt is, I mean, I don't want to say he's injury prone, but he gets injured. You know, he was injured at the end of last year. The last 4 or 5 games, he just wasn't himself. You know, I love what TJ Watt brings to the table, but look, at the end of a new deal, let's just say he gets a new 3-year deal, he's going to be 33 years old, and we're going to be paying this guy probably in upwards of $36, $37 million. Do we really want to do that, Big G? Does that make sense to do that? Because there's a lot of people that say blow it up and start all over. If you blow it up and start all over, that starts with not extending TJ Watt. That starts with trading TJ Watt. So, you know, for the Steeler fans out there that think that, okay, we need to just blow it up and start all over, I'm not telling you that you're wrong, but the first part of that is, well, you trade TJ Watt, you get a boatload back, and you move on from there.
Yeah.
Is that the right thing to do, Big G?
Yeah. Listen, if the Washington Commanders, the Detroit Lions called me, and matter of fact, any NFC team, if any NFC team called me and said, I'll give up my first, my third, and maybe give you a 6th or 7th, you give me Watt might as well pack right now. Today, pack. And listen, I love TJ Watt. I would love to see him be a career Pittsburgh Steeler. But, dog, for that type of draft capital, you move on. And there are teams that feel that they're one component or one player away from contending for a championship. Some of those teams I just mentioned. The Detroit Lions, today. The Washington Commanders, today. They're like, man, we just need one more dude, bro. So would I do it? Absolutely. So now, in maybe this guy who did the mock draft, maybe he knows something. Maybe he knows that they might get up off of TJ Watt. But I don't see it happening. I'm not saying it's happening. I'm not going to predict it. But would I trade Watt today? Today I would do it because he's worth getting that capital. Could you imagine what we could do with 2 first-round picks and 2 third-round picks? Just not talking about future. To right now today with 2 first rounds and 2 thirds. Wouldn't have to trade anything else. Man, we almost all the way back. I mean, we're ready at that point. If we hit with those picks, insert the quarterback, and now let's play and let's line up. So, I'm with that, man.
You know, in the chat is up and down on it, but here's the thing: it really just depends what the Steelers are trying to do. If the Steelers are trying to start over, you trade TJ Watt, you do it now. That's simple as fact. You trade him before the draft, you get what you can get, and you move on because he's going to sign somewhere else and get an extension somewhere else. If the Steelers are not trying to blow it up, they're not going to trade him. It's that simple. And we're going to know sooner than later because he's not going to go. First of all, if they don't trade him before the draft, TJ Watt's getting extended. 100% guaranteed. He's got 1 year left on his deal, and he's not going to go into it. He's not going to play 1 second without having an extension under him. He's not going to do that, and the Steelers aren't going to ask him to do that. So if you want to know what the Steelers are doing and how they feel about it, wait till the draft. Steelers don't trade him before the draft, TJ Watt's getting extended. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So
Mhm.
we won't have to wait that long to find out where they're doing with it. So
Facts.
first
Facts.
super chat of the night we got here from Handy Cart Mexican. I'll trade TJ when he's 80 for 4 first-round picks.
That's not reality, man. That's not, stop that, man. That ain't reality, man. That's not reality. It's not reality at all. Matter of fact, if we don't, if we B, you hit a valuable point. If we don't, if we do trade him, now is the hottest time we're going to get the money for him.
Absolutely.
Because a team can bring him in. He can either be a 1 year, okay, we signed the guy, or they extend him and they take on that contract.
Correct.
So as far as being able to move off of TJ Watt, this is the best time ever. Right. Now, I'm not saying that they would do it, but yeah, heck yeah. A first and a third and maybe a fifth or a sixth. Yeah. Or
it would be a first and a third, first, third, and a fifth. Then you have to do it.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. And they would sign him because the team's not going to give up all that draft capital if they don't sign him to a new deal. So it wouldn't even be a 1 year rental. So it would be fine. But the Steelers aren't going to do that. Here, they're not going to trade TJ Watt.
Facts.
We know what the Steelers do. They keep on to all of their guys. Somebody said it in the chat. They keep their legacy players, too long. And they do. That's facts. Steelers are one of the franchises that get rid of the great older players a year too late versus a year too early. And I'm not saying TJ's washed. I'm not saying he's done or anything like that. So don't let me say that I'm saying anything like that. I'm not. All I'm saying is it's a good conversation to have depending on what the Steelers are actually trying to do.
Yeah.
If they're actually trying to start over, well, then he gets traded. If they're not trying to start over, then he gets extended. It's period. I mean, it's that simple. We don't have to try to mix it up and think deep into it. It's not that deep. We'll know. And we'll know here in about a month. So it's just the way things roll, man. It's the way things roll. So let's see here. Next super chat, big super chat from our man Capricorn Steel, who always takes care of us, man. Said, I remember Franco in Seattle and Rod in San Francisco. Like you said, B, I'm a Steeler fan first and foremost. Absolutely.
That's big facts.
Yes.
That's big facts.
Yes.
We don't hold on to dudes forever like that, bro. It makes absolutely no sense to do it.
Yeah, it doesn't. And
like you said,
we remember these people, Big G. Like Franco, he was a Seahawk. The Steelers, he couldn't run the football anymore. And the Steelers finally said, hey, man, we want you to retire. But Franco wasn't ready to retire. Rod Woodson was a different situation. We thought Rod Woodson was finished playing. We thought he couldn't play anymore, so we didn't sign him. All of a sudden, Rod Woodson goes on hell. He goes on to have a Hall of Fame safety career after he left the damn Steelers.
Yeah.
We thought, oh, well, he can't play corner anymore. And Rod Woodson's like, you know what? You're right, but I'm a damn good safety. Goes on to play and has a Hall of Fame safety career after he leaves the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, those are two examples where we screwed up, and maybe that's where the Steelers feel like they're like, look, we don't want. Well, Franco couldn't play, so maybe one example. We don't want another Rod Woodson on our hands, so we keep these guys maybe a year too long. I don't know if that's smart. Especially in today's day and age, but it's just kind of what it is.
What about Debo in Cincinnati and New England? I was mad as hell. I ain't gonna front with you, bro. I was mad as hell. I said, what? Debo over there in New England and Cincinnati? But I understood the business.
Right.
So listen, this is a business first. This ain't got nothing to do with how you think and feel and your feelings and all whatever else. This is a business. Now, and listen, I might be giving Mr. Rooney a little bit more credit. But I promise you, if I was the owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers, first, third, and the fifth, bro, get the packing. Adios, muchachos, dog. We appreciate your services. We'll see you next lifetime. You might go into the hall as a Steeler or with a bus as a Steeler, but no, you got to go. You got to go, dog.
Yeah, our man Big Pun in the chat. He's on that liquor, ladies and gentlemen.
Lord.
He's bringing up Plaxico Burress, saying it was a horrible decision. Not only that, but we're talking about Hall of Fame football players, and he brings up Plaxico Burress. I love Big Pun. I love him, but wherever he is, boy, he drinks early and then comes in here because that is just insane talk. My goodness.
Pun, you stay out that liquor cabinet. You stay out that liquor cabinet, bro. And listen, put in the chat, do you drink dark or light? I want to know which one you on, because you might be, it sounds like you be mixing it up, bro. You go from light to dark, dark to light. I don't know what you're doing over there, but it's a lot going on with you, Pun. It's a lot going on, bro.
Oh, we love Big Pun, though, man. He talks crazy. He gets on that liquor and talks crazy. He said early, I saw him in the chat, and don't think I didn't see you, Big Pun. He said he had the Adderall going. See, you've been taking too many Adderall.
Yeah,
that's the problem. He got on the Adderall, and he's shaking. That's his problem. He's up there shaking.
Pun, you need to slow down a little bit. And if you mixing liquor with that, oh, bro, listen. Pun, you know, in my off job, I'm a therapist. I can help you.
Yeah,
I can help you. I can help you do some therapy, man. So, you know, you over there shaking and shaking and shaking. Come on, Pun. Slow down, bro. Slow down.
Slow down, brother. We love y'all, man. We love the chat, man. The chat is always right, man. The chat is always right until you're wrong. Let's move on, man. So, Steelers and these compensatory picks. All these compensatory picks that the Steelers have picked up, they get another one with Russ.
Facts.
Do you understand how the compensatory stuff works, Big G?
Yeah, I do. Well, I don't think the chat do, but I understand.
That's what I was going to say. I didn't think the chat does. I mean, I understand how it works. I'll let you explain how these compensatory picks work, and then we'll dive in on how it can possibly work for the Steelers, and is this the right play?
Yeah, I mean, I could read the big long write-up on how it is because it's really technical, but just let me say this just to give you like the cliff notes from it. The cliff notes is the compensatory picks work based on how much the player plays, what he does as far as his stats, how much time he actually spends on the field for the team. Is he waived? Is he not there? So they're projected early. As we get closer, because they don't decide on the compensatory picks literally until like last week, we got the compensatory picks decided for the 2025 draft because there was picks that we thought we were going to get and we didn't. So it's a lot is based on what goes on with the player that leaves the team in free agency. Now, B, in all fairness, we just stacked up a whole gang of them.
Yeah.
As of right now, we're closer to 7 compensatory picks, which would be from a 3rd round to maybe a 7th round. Right, but it depends on what goes on with it, and I don't know. But I'm gonna let you talk more about what you think the Steelers should do concerning these compensatory picks, bro.
Well, the one thing is that the Steelers are using them. They're going to use them because we've talked about the Steelers need bodies. You know, the one thing that I think me, you, the chat, and most Steeler fans would agree is that Steelers are not one player away from going to the Super Bowl. Fact. How you build a roster, everybody always believe, well, you got to hit on your first round pick. And you do. You have to hit on your first round pick more than you miss. That's true. But your roster is the meat, you know, the meat of the draft, which is anywhere from the 2nd round to the 6th round. That's where you're going to build your roster. So the more picks that you can get in those rounds, the better off that your football team would be. Like, if you could get 3 3rd-round picks, that's really good. Not to mention, you can also combine those picks. Hey, we got 2 3rd rounds. We can take a 3rd round. Or we got 2 2nd round. We can take 2 of those, move up in the draft to get a higher draft pick, which I think the Steelers are probably going to do. So it's good to have these compensatory picks. It kind of seems like that's the method that the Steelers are using, because you can't use them in this draft. It's for 2026. So it seems like, okay, the Steelers are really building up these picks, and then what are they going to do with them? Well, a lot of people think, well, they're going to move up to draft the quarterback, and they very well might. That might be part of it. Well, you get the compensatory picks to move up in the draft, but you're not actually giving up. Like, if they have a 3rd-round pick, well, they still have one. So you're not moving back. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So it's good to have double picks in multiple rounds so you can use those to move up. I like the approach. It just doesn't help us in 2025. That's my thing. You know, it's fine that we're looking down the road to 2026. I know a lot of people want to say, well, the quarterback draft will be better. Maybe it will. Who knows? But all I'm saying is to build a roster, you got to have these compensatory picks. I mean, remember the glory days of the Dallas Cowboys in the 90s? Some of you probably weren't born, but the glory days is because when they traded Herschel Walker, they got all those picks and they drafted a bunch of guys without giving up other draft picks, and they just happened to hit all of them. Steelers got to do the same thing.
That's big facts. That was the biggest heist in NFL history. They that was a stick up. They got what they got for Herschel Walker was ridiculous. Matter of fact, it set their roster for the next. Matter of fact, they don't win the Super Bowls unless they trade for Herschel.
Correct.
And what that turned into. But now, B, in all fairness, Omar Khan, Andy Waddle, look what they did in Philadelphia. It's the same blueprint. They build up compensatory picks over in Philadelphia before, like Khan sat over there and watched the dude do it. And what they did with those compensatory picks is they ended up trading them for veterans that they thought would come in and help them, i.e. Mr. Graham that just retired, or they drafted multiple players from in the same position in the same freaking draft. Why do you think that they had dog defensive tackles? Why do you think that they had dog defensive players? Why do you think that they had dog offensive linemen? Because they was using those picks to move around and get the guy that they designated was a fit for the Philadelphia Eagles. To me, it makes all the sense in the world. But like you said, for 2025, what does it do? The only way it helps us in 2025 is if we actually see a dude that's like, look, man, I cannot believe this dude fell to that pick, bro. Listen, we got to mortgage some stuff in the future because I want that dude on my team, which could happen for the Steelers in the second round. If we don't move a guy, we don't have a second-round pick. So maybe you could put some of those picks together, get back in the second round to get the guy that failed, and you were like, holy, I can't believe he was even freaking sitting there. So maybe it helps us in 2025, but the likelihood is no.
That's the whole thing about it is, I'm looking at the chat's talking about, well, you can't trade him. You can trade him. You can trade the picks. It just doesn't help for 2025.
Facts.
We could trade them and say, hey, just like teams trade first-round picks for next year. If they wanted to move up in the draft, they trade 3 first-round picks. So you can do the same thing, and you can trade compensatory picks. I'm saying, no, it's not going to help you this year.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. We can't trade and get picks this year. They're not going to do that. Nobody, I mean, in a third-round pick, I'm guessing a team's not going to say, yeah, you know what, we'll take your third-round pick next year, and we'll give you ours for this year. They're not going to do that. So that's what I'm talking about as far as trading. It doesn't necessarily help us this year unless the Steelers packaged all of them and then moved up next year. That would be a different conversation, which, again, if we're trying to build our roster, are we really trying to give up that kind of draft capital for one player? I would guess the answer to that would be no. It would be crazy, but doesn't mean it can't happen. Doesn't mean it can't happen. Do you think it's the right play? Because the Steelers didn't do anything in free agency. I mean, we haven't done anything. Again, I don't count DK Metcalf. I count it as a trade. Some people do count it as free agency. Some people don't. I just choose not to. Happened before free agency, and it was an actual trade. So in that way of thinking, Steelers haven't done anything. So they're banking on these compensatory picks. Is that the right way to go?
Not for me. I mean, listen, I'm a firm believer in you take care of what you take care of right here and right now. Yes, you do build for the future, but you take care of what you need to take care of right here and now. The Steelers last I checked, we're still sitting around that $40 million range as far as dollars. And I know we got to save some money back for the rookie class. But, bro, we got bread. And we still haven't made and brought in guys that I thought was serviceable. I saw Baker, the linebacker for the Dolphins, signed the other day. I was like, man, we could have used that dude. Yeah. So I sent you a list, and I was like, B, any of these dudes? And you were like, G, we could use that guy and this guy. So I know that we could bring in more guys, but they haven't done it. So the deal is, are they really banking towards 2026? And if that's the case, then, I mean, we're all in with 2026 because what they're sending us signals to say is that 2025 is a build year. Now the good thing is that for the Steelers, a build year is 9-8 and 10-7. We're not like, and I've been saying this and I'm going to keep on saying it. Steelers fans, you're spoiled because
Right.
we're not like other NFL franchises that have to blow it up and go freaking 5-12 or 6-11 and 4 and God knows who to be able to compete in the NFL. A build year for us is 9-8, 10-7. So they're saying, okay, we're going to build the roster again in 2025, maybe bring in a veteran quarterback to make some noise, win a playoff game, and then 2026 we're going for it. So I'm not mad at it. I just don't like it because it doesn't help with the patience of me being a Steeler fan and wanting to win right now, bro. It doesn't help with that.
No, it does not. I mean, my man Somber in the chat, it made it perfectly clear, and he's right. You can't have a win now attitude, but then have a comp pick formula. That you can't do that. I mean, it literally, you can't do both things at the same time. It doesn't make any sense. And he's absolutely right. You have to have one or the other. But to be honest with you, I think the Steelers are trying to do both. That's the thing, is that the we've talked about this before. The Steelers have been rebuilding for a while. They're trying to rebuild how most teams rebuild and they stink for a couple of years and then they flip the roster and they rebuild. The Steelers are trying to do that while they remain relevant, still making the playoffs every now and then. They're trying to do it that way. So again, I think the Steelers are trying to have both mindsets, and we'll see if it works. We'll see if that avenue works. I don't think it will. I don't think it can, but maybe. Who the hell knows? Who the hell knows? Because I mean, at some point you would think Mike Tomlin would have a losing season. Not that I'm not saying that's the end all of be all, people. I'm not saying that. Yeah. But at some point you would think that would happen, and it hasn't. Right. So we're still rebuilding this roster, but we're doing it as we go along. And that's the whole thing. I'm like, man, we're going to do this mindset and we're going to continue this at the exact same time. I don't know, Big G. At some point, we've got to have a sense of urgency. And
yeah. I think they do. I think they got it. I think they have it. Listen, me and you talk privately, and I can't wait till we share with the people about what happened to the Pittsburgh Steelers from 2010 to 2021 with their drafts. We've talked privately about how Kevin Colbert wrecked shop, and he tore us out the frame with drafts, right? So it's going to take a while to rebuild that. Y'all, for you guys that don't know, I hope you understand and realize that 95% of the Steelers picks from 2016 to 2025 are currently not on the roster. I hope you realize that. And I hope you realize that like 90% of all the first round picks are not on the roster. So we got tore out the frame with lackluster first round picks during those years. So with Khan and Waddle having to come in and do what they need to do, it's going to take a minute. This is really year 3 for them. This is really, and they had to fix that catastrophe that happened with Baby Hans Pickett. Oh my God. I mean, that alone was, when you miss a quarterback on the first round, you set your franchise back 5 years. So for us,
I don't know if it's like that anymore, Big G. It used to be like that for sure because of how much money you had to pay him. I don't know if it's like that you set it back for 5 years now because, hell, we just got rid of Baby Hans Pickett and we made the playoffs. So I don't know if it's the same as what it used to be. Like when remember when Sam Bradford got drafted, he was guaranteed $50 million before you played game 1, and they changed the rules on how much they were paying rookies. So I don't think it sets you back that long anymore. But and I know it used to, but the way that it is now, I don't think it sets you back like that.
You just got to be willing to draft a quarterback the next year after you mess it up.
Right. Look at the Arizona Cardinals. Now, you could say, well, Arizona's never got out of it. Okay, that's fair. But they drafted Josh Rosen, and they said, nope, he ain't the right guy. The very next year, they drafted a quarterback. You know, now you could say, like I said, that they've never gotten out of it because it's the Cardinals. But, I don't think it sets you back like that any longer just because of the amount of money. But the cornerbacks that the Steelers have missed on, my God, just the defensive backs alone that have just been awful. And yes, Capricorn put it in the chat. The Artie Burns one to me was brutal. That was the one that was brutal because remember, first off, nobody had really even talked about Artie Burns being a first-round draft pick.
Yeah.
Nobody had brought him up. They thought maybe a third-round guy, but he's long, he's fast. The only thing about it, he was long, he was fast, but he couldn't cover anybody. So it doesn't matter. He had super long arms. He was strong. He was really athletic, could really run. He just couldn't cover anybody. So how did that help us? And that one was ugly. That one was ugly.
Remember Jawan Jones? Remember Jawan
Yes.
Jones?
Oh,
Remember Jawan Jones? Remember, I mean, we could, like I said, that's a whole nother show. We're gonna talk about it. And we're gonna talk about how, we did the research. It wasn't the fact that he missed in the first.
No.
The second, third, fourth, fifth, it was trash. I mean, it was straight trash. I'm like, who in the hell is picking for the Steelers? That's garbage. Get it, man. We got to get another dude out there, man.
Multiple years where the entire draft was absolutely horrible. Not bad, horrible. And I'm like, my goodness, this is awful. Like, and it was stuff like, man, these guys are not even in the National Football League 2 years later, much less 5 years later. 2 years later, they're not even playing. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yep, facts, bro.
But man, Cam Hayward came out talking about a sense of urgency. That, like we talked about, that doesn't align with the compensatory pick. You know, he says urgency to do it. They've got multiple guys that are up there in age, and they're getting closer to the end than they are the beginning. Cam's wanting to win right now. And he didn't come out and say the Steelers need to put a plan in place to win right now. But he basically said, hey, man, it's time to go. It's time to go. It's time to put a plan in place to win right now. This is going to have you crash out, Big G. But Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback for the Steelers to win right now.
I know I'm going to crash out, but it's the truth. Sometimes, I remember we were young and we were little kids and our grandparents gave us that nasty ass castor oil. Yeah. Remember, and like it was like you saw it coming, right? And it's like you had to swallow your medicine, right? And so this is one of them things that, like, I'm gonna crash out. I'm telling you straight up, I'm gonna lose it. But I gotta swallow that nasty ass castor oil, dog. And I'm not trying to take that, bro. I don't care how much you hold your nose and how much you're like, it's just there's no way around it from being nasty. So Aaron Rodgers is the nasty ass castor oil. I got to deal with it and I got to take it and then we move on because from the truth we can get anywhere. So I got to heal. So maybe Rodgers helps me from crashing, stop me from crashing out. I do it one time and it's all over with, you know?
You're right. For me, it was the stuff called the spray. You know, as a kid, you know, you're always cutting your leg, you know, because we played outside back in those days. So you cut your leg, your arm, your wrist. My dad was a football coach, and he had this stuff called the spray, Big G. And I remember it to this day. He would spray it on you, and for the next 3 to 5 seconds, it was the most painful thing in all the free world. I would fight, it would take my mom, my brother, they all had to hold me down because when you got that spray, it was painful. Made you cry, and then you were fine. And then you were okay because whatever the hell was in that spray, that was back when they weren't testing everything right. All of a sudden, how do your scab, it's fully healed in a day. How does that work? I mean, that don't happen today.
They don't sell that stuff no more.
In those days,
you
know, I'm sure it wasn't tested properly. But yeah, that's with me with Aaron Rodgers. I'm gonna have to get the spray. It's gonna sting, but you know what? Unfortunately, it's the best thing for us right now.
It is. It is, man. And I hate it. But it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm gonna give him a warning. Listen. If he signs, and I hope, you know what I hope? I hope he signs when we're live. Oh my God. I'm gonna send him a warning shot right then and there. Rodgers, make sure you tune into the big show because I got a warning shot for you on the show. I got a warning shot for you, bro.
Yeah. Old Aaron Rodgers, man, it's ugly. It is
Mhm.
ugly. But the
Mhm.
chat's going crazy. Speaking of crashing out, the chat is crashing out. They are going through all of the Steelers picks that
Yeah.
have absolutely just been
Trash.
awful over the year. The chat gets it, man. They feel that pain too, man. They
Yeah.
get it. They feel that pain. The chat is crashing out as we speak. They can't take it. They can't take it. And I get it.
Yeah.
I get it, man. So
Kevin Colbert, bro. I mean, listen, people could listen. You can say what you want to say about Mike Tomlin, but you better take a good examination of Kevin Colbert.
yeah.
Because Kevin Colbert was horrible. He should have been fired at 17. He should have been fired. In 2017, he should have lost his job.
Should have lost his job.
You
Ain't
know,
no
so-
doubt about it. With that draft, yeah, he should have lost his job.
Yeah, fired. But you know, like I said, people are all riding Tomlin, talking crazy about him and all whatever else. Go back and look at Kevin Colbert. Like I said, that's gonna be a whole show. We're gonna talk crazy on that
Yeah.
show. We probably gonna piss a lot of people off, but I don't care. I don't care nothing about him. I don't care. Get mad.
Right. Well, the one, and we know that we've talked about it. The one for me most recently that hurt the most, and I actually thought we were going to do it because I knew Big Ben was on his way out, was when we took Terrell Edmonds over Lamar Jackson.
Oh my God.
I was like, why? What? Huh? What?
Oh
What are
my
we
God.
doing? And that's what because I was like, yeah, Big Ben's going to be finished. We can take Lamar. We all thought that Lamar was going to take a couple years to figure it out.
Mhm.
Okay, great. And then we
Mhm.
took Edmonds. And then I'm like, oh my goodness, this guy, again, another guy that wasn't being talked about as some big first round guy. I'm like, what? Huh? Why? And 4 years later, he was no longer on the Steelers. We brought him back, practice squad. He's bounced around the league. He still gets paid. So again, it's good work when you can get it. But another absolute horrible mistake. And look, we can hate Lamar all we want, and I think we all do when we have to play him. But you're telling me if Lamar Jackson was on the Steelers, we're better, people. We're better.
We did it twice. We did. I said, I can't wait till we do the show. But we drafted Chase Claypool, and 2 picks later, Jalen Hurts went off the board. Stop it, Pittsburgh. What is you doing? Stop it. Stop it. Horribleness, man. Horribleness.
The only thing I would say about Hurts, it's the same thing about Lamar. Everybody passed on Lamar. Everybody passed on him. And then Baltimore was like, you know what? We want Lamar, and we can move up in the first round to get him. We'll go ahead and do it. And I'm like, oh, my
winning
God.
MVPs, killing us every time he gets an opportunity to kill us. Jalen down there winning Super Bowls in Philadelphia. Well, listen, I'm telling you, Kevin Colbert, I got an issue with you, dog. If I see you in real life, I got an issue with you. So we got to come to some type of understanding, but because you killed us. You killed us.
The man Mark Tobin in the chat, he's a Louisville Cardinal fan like I am. And he's like, yeah, I remember Lamar. I was like, yeah, I do too. I thought we were going to take him, and we didn't. And yeah, I don't want to talk about it anymore. The chat, like I said, is crashing out. They keep bringing up names. Now they're going with James Washington. That was another one. I was like, oh.
Toledo's finest. University
God.
of Toledo's
It was
finest.
just over and over again, these guys that were just bad. It's like, oh, goodness gracious.
Trash.
Oh, well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're at that point in the show where the producer question is going to come up, ladies and gentlemen. Every week we have our producer on the behind the scenes that puts out all these cool graphics and everything that you all see, and is responsible for all the graphics on Steelers Almighty, comes up with a question. Mm-hmm. It's always a crazy question. We don't know what the question is. He pops it up there, and he usually not only drives us, but you all mad. Here we go.
Look at this mess.
Wide receiver expectations reality check. Based on the current quarterback situation, which result would you prefer for the Steelers' top weapons in 2025? A, Pickens has a breakout Pro Bowl season, but Metcalf grows frustrated with targets.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want B, Metcalf becomes the clear wide receiver 1, but Pickens continues to be boom or bust and clashes with coaches? I mean, that's nothing new. Or C, both put up solid numbers, 1,000+ yards, but touchdown numbers are low, less than 4 each.
Can I go first?
You can go first.
Give me B all day and night.
Yeah.
Give me B. I want B all day and night. Because guess what, GP? You can get traded. We can get you
Yeah.
up on out of here quick, bro. We can send you packing.
Yeah.
But if DK blows up, yeah, roll with it. GP has potential. And you know what potential does for you, B.
No.
We got a PG-13 rated show. I can't go there about what potential actually does for you. But give me B. I'll take B. And GP, get in line. You Robin. You ain't Batman, dog. Get in line. Give me B.
Yeah, I kind of like that. I like B. I wouldn't mind A, though. Metcalf can grow frustrated with his targets, but I wouldn't mind A, because if Pickens has look, maybe the Steelers end up signing GP to another contract. We've seen teams do it before. If we start spending more money on the offense versus the defense, who knows? Got a super chat in here we're going to get to real quick. Jameis could have had 5,000 yards again, 35 TDs, 25 interceptions with DK and GP. Should have been considered for $4 million. Should draft McCord this year regardless. I'm sorry, MC 40 ounce. Jameis Winston is an absolute. The Steelers would have won 3 games. So if you want numbers, the 25 of those interceptions, 9 of those would have been pick sixes. The Steelers would have won 3 games. Mike Tomlin would have been arrested and in jail for assault on a football field because he would have strangled Jameis Winston for throwing all those interceptions.
Yeah.
So no, who cares if he threw for 5,000 yards? Steelers would have won 3 games. Jameis is an absolute bum of a quarterback. Don't bring that up. Don't bring up 30 for 30 no more. Okay? Hell, not only we're going to win 3 games, we're going to get our damn coach is going to be incarcerated. No to 30 for 30 Winston. No.
Hey, man, that boy would have showed up in the locker room and everybody would have been skirted up with Black Air Force Ones looking at him real hard. Looking at him real hard.
They would have done to him, Big G. Remember Full Metal Jacket when they hit old boy with the soap? They'd have wrapped him up in the locker room and everybody would have just busted his ass with soap.
Beat the brake shoes off of that boy. Beat the brake shoes off of him. Punishment. Straight up Full Metal Jacket. Get him out of here, bro.
No 30 for 30, man. I'm out. I'm out. I can't deal with it. But that's what it would have happened. No Jameis Winstons, man. Look, J-Boo, 30 for 30. You let him go and be wherever he's at, man. He's fine. He's still in the league. Look, I love them pregame pep talks. I love all of that. I just don't want it on my team. I can't do 30 for 30 on my team, man. No. No.
Facts, bro. I can't. He's stay over there with the Giants. You and Rusty gonna be a nice little tag team. Stay on over there with the Giants. Sit on over there. You all right. You'll be good.
Yeah. No. It's fine. It's fine. But anyway, man, good show tonight, man. Real good show tonight. I appreciate everybody in the chat, man. You all always make it fun, man. You always make it fun.
Yeah.
We crash out together. We love together. We live together. The big show. We're just getting started with this thing, man. We're doing big things. I'm putting together something right now for draft day. I'll see if Big G is interested and available. But I'm trying to put some stuff together for the draft. Trying to go live on Thursday and Friday. I don't know about Saturday because Saturday the day gets a little long. But Thursday and Friday, we'll see what happens, depending on who's going to be available. But we'll see what we can do. We'll see what we can do. So, but Big G, first of all, thank you again. I know you're part of the family, so I always say thank you anyway, but appreciate you being on, man. Let everybody know exactly where they can find you at.
Absolutely, bro. We get on every week on Tuesdays with the big show, me and Big B every week. Tomorrow night, I got 2 shows. Smash the Gas on the KnoItAllz channel. We'll be live at about 7:15, 45 minutes before we go into Pump Your Brakes over on Steel Curtain Network. And I'm going to be over there talking crazy on Smash the Gas, bro. I'm telling you right now. I had to tone it down a little bit so my pressure ain't high because tomorrow night I'm turning it up, boy. But then again, on Sunday, this Sunday coming up on the KnoItAllz Podcast, we are having a very special guest. Starting left tackle Tyler Guyton for the Dallas Cowboys will be our guest on the KnoItAllz Podcast on Sunday For you guys that don't know him, he was a top 16 draft pick for the Dallas Cowboys in last year's draft. He was an All-American left tackle from Oklahoma University. He's going to be on. We might even be able to get his dad, Al, to swing in and talk for a few minutes with us because Al's an all-time great. If you don't know him, he's an older guy, diehard Cowboy fan, big-time college football player. They will be our guests on the Sunday KnoItAllz podcast. So you can catch me tomorrow night on the KnoItAllz. Smash the gas first, then pump your brakes. But then Sunday, Tyler Guyton will be our special guest, left tackles, Dallas Cowboys, on the KnoItAllz podcast, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday.
Absolutely, man. Again, thank everybody for showing up. Again, memberships, if you want to help support the channel that way for Steelers Almighty, are absolutely available. Again, we just did our next all 22 of the entire game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was the Cowboys game. That was a rough one. So you have levels there. There's 5 different levels. All pro level or higher will get you access to the all 22s. Also, if you couldn't tell, anybody that was a member that was in here tonight, you always get special privileges and special attention when you come into the chat. So we appreciate everybody that's in here. Appreciate you guys showing up and showing out like you always do, man. We will catch you guys next time. Aloha.